All right. In this video, I just want to tell you that I started not a YouTube, a Facebook forum here, and I'm thinking that I will start a MeWe forum, and I'm thinking about doing live videos and getting into chats and getting to know people and talk to them and discuss things with people. And I don't know if that's what I'm going to do, so don't quote me on it as something I'm going to do. It's something I'm just thinking about, all right? Starting with this here. Seeing what kind of response I get. Because I'm kind of tired of getting kicked out and blocked or suspended in different groups. So I figured, hey, I'll make my own. And you can't kick me out of my own group. But I also can't make you join it, right? So, double-edged sword there. But anyway, uh, I was basically discussing things in this last forum that I'm actually engaging people in. It's called something along the lines of Catholic, Orthodox, and Protestant Peaceful Dialogue. I think that's the name of the group on Facebook here. And they just randomly suspend me now and then. I don't do anything to break the rules, and it's annoying, right? So I figured, you know what, I'll do my own group here. This last time, you may say there's a reason to actually suspend me. I disagree, but what are you going to do? But I'll tell you about it. In this group, I put up a post talking about the pontiff, and you can see there's people commenting, but I can't respond. Right? They didn't shut off my commenting on my posts, but I can't reply. So yeah, they let it all back up because they're good people, right? They're good, reasonable people. But anyway, I put up a post talking about the pontiff. That pontiff means bridge builder, and Pontifex Maximus means the head or chief, the top bridge builder. And that this was a title given to the Roman emperor because he was the head of the state and of the church. And no, it's not a Christian church, but it's still a church because a church means assembly. It's a pagan heathen assembly or a pagan heathen church. Right? So calm down if you're thinking that I'm saying it's Christian. No, I'm not. I'm just saying it's a gathering. It's a pagan church, right? Like I would say the Muslim church, even though I know they call it a mosque. I would say a gathering, a church of Muslims. All right, so just calm down on that because I have gotten people who jumped on me for calling it a pagan church or a heathen church. But anyway, the head of the pagan church is the bridge builder because the head of the pagan church would build between a bridge between the physical and the spiritual. An example is in the Bible would be the Tower of Babel, where they were trying to connect the physical, the earth, to the spiritual, the heavens, to reach their gods that they worship, the sun, moon, and stars, and the wandering stars that we call the planets. And you can see that all throughout Greek and Roman theology, where they gave names to the sun, moon, and planets, and they worship them, like Mars and Mercury and Venus, and whether they called it Jupiter or Zeus or Saturn or Kronos, it didn't matter. They were worshiping these wandering stars known as planets today. And you can look up in all these pagan religions that they would refer to their gurus and what have you as bridge builders. You can see this in like Hinduism. You can see this with the medicine man and the shaman would be used by their tribes to connect with the spiritual world. They were a bridge to it. And today it's the medium. Their medium as a bridge is a medium between two places. The medium is a bridge between the physical and the spiritual People go to mediums to contact the spiritual realm, right? And this is a pagan term that's not given to Christians, right? It's not a Christian title, such as a lot of Catholics would say that Peter was the first pontiff. But Peter was never given a title of a bridge builder or chief bridge builder. It's not a Christian term. God is the only bridge builder, and Jesus is the bridge, because Jesus is the only way to the Father. And Christians don't build bridges, right? Realizing that I made a video about this already, so you can check that out. You get the gist of the post, right? And in the post, I was saying that no bishop was actually given the title of pontiff until 300 AD, sometime after that, after Constantine supposedly converted to Christianity. So a moderator in the group put a post about Tertullian mocking the Bishop of Rome, calling him the Pontifex Maximus, the Bishop of Bishops, and taunting him and mocking him. And I told him, yeah, this is not saying that the Bishop of Rome had this title. Tertullian is mocking him. Right? If I called you the Pontifex Maximus, does that mean you have that title? No, it means I'm mocking you. Oh, you're king of the world. Everything revolves around you. It's mocking. It's not real. The Bishop of Rome didn't have that title at the time. It wasn't until sometime after 300 AD that the Bishop of Rome ended up getting the title of Pontifex Maximus. Okay? And I explained this to the moderator. So what does the moderator respond with? Oh, okay, this is true that Tertullian is mocking, but your point is that the title didn't exist until 300 AD. Boom, straw man. I didn't say the title didn't exist until 300 AD. Matter of fact, I said in Peter's time, the Pontifex Maximus was the Roman emperor. He had that title. And that title existed from that time of the Roman Empire. It even still exists today. But it wasn't given to a bishop until 300 AD. So I told him, you need to learn to read and not use straw man arguments. I didn't say the title didn't exist. Well, apparently he got offended. Something about not appreciating being told to learn to read, that he would something like compare his reading comprehension skills to mine any day, and all this nonsense, and said if I responded in such a way again that he was just going to suspend me. I was like, man, this guy's a douche. He really is. He's a pompous ass, and I don't want to deal with him. I'm not going to argue with him when he can just shut me off, right? Censor me just because I said something he didn't like. Even though I've actually had Catholics in there say that I need to get punched in the mouth, right? But I can't say learn to read. That's too rude and offensive. So I just blocked him. Now, I didn't do anything worthy of getting suspended, but I did block a moderator. So you could say that's against the rules. So yeah, you should be suspended. So I can't argue with that. But hey, I might be able to chat back in that group, which is strange. But I won't have to deal with that moderator anymore, which is good because the guy's a jackass. He's just full of himself. Expects you to fight arguments that he made up. And what are you going to do with that? You got somebody who's the moderator who's playing games like that. And that's what Catholics like to do. They like to have the control so that they can do things like that. That's why they never come into groups that aren't run by Catholics. That's why I'm probably not going to get a lot of people to come in here. But who knows? We'll see. Catholics usually don't go out and do what Jesus said and preach the gospel to the world. They got this arrogance about you come to us and then we'll give you what we tell you the gospel is. which is to become part of us, and then maybe you'll be saved after you spend some indefinite amount of time in purgatory, which is basically hell for people who think they're going to get out of it. But anyway, yeah, so I decided to make this group so I don't got to deal with that. But chances are Catholics, maybe some Orthodox and Protestants will come in. Probably more Protestants than anything, because they don't mind reaching out to people and going out into these things. But I don't know so much about the Orthodox doing that, and the Catholics definitely don't like doing that. They only stay on their own turf and like to play games like that. But it's just showing you of how you can't trust leadership because they're biased and they have agendas because man is sinful. And it shows you that you can't rely on the clergy in any denomination that you're in. If you're Catholic, Orthodox, Protestant, or what have you, you can't rely on the clergy because they're human like you are. And they're frail, and they have agendas and biased, and are sinful and selfish. And they don't like admitting when they're wrong. And they got pride and arrogance and lack humility. So when they're shown that they're wrong, such as Tertullian wasn't saying that the Bishop of Rome had the title of Pontifex Maximus, he was mocking him by calling him the Pontifex Maximus, like saying, oh, you think that's who you are, right? And also saying the Bishop of Bishops, he was mocking him with this. This wasn't a title he was actually had. He then switches to say that my claim, which it wasn't, is that the title or the office didn't exist until sometime later. And that's not what I said. I said no bishop was actually officially given that title till after 300 AD. It's a straw man. And he didn't care because he has an ego and he doesn't want to admit that he's wrong. So instead of admitting that he's wrong, he has to change what I believe to make it sound like he was actually going against and defeating my beliefs. But it wasn't my beliefs. It was what he said my beliefs were that he started to beat down with his argument. It's a lack of humility. So you can see this in a forum, right? This same thing we can see in communities. Anybody who's involved in their community, you can see this in people who start to get into leadership positions there. You can see it in your own church too. I hear the things people have to say about their priests and their pastors. We see it obviously in the government today with the United States. It's something that you got to deal with. You can't just blindly trust the clergy, the leadership, the supposed authority, because they got their own agendas, right? That's the fellow I was talking to about water baptism and salvation, and I'll get back to him here in a moment. But yeah, that guy seems like a good guy. That just popped up. Seems like a humble, down-to-earth guy. We just don't agree. You know, when we're dead, we'll find out who's really right. Obviously, I believe I'm right, and I know I'm right, right? But we'll finally find out when we see things clearly. But that being said, feel free to join this chat. If anything, maybe I think this is like MeWe. You can create a chat on the side. We can talk and get to know each other. We'll have an online church. Maybe that's what we can start going on here. I don't know. We'll see what God wants to do with this. I've started groups before and it's gone nowhere, so I don't expect much more. But anyway, thanks for watching and take care.